You are progressing down this path that we're going to see in the text. And in order to do that, you have to be able to access the genuine. If you're going to make a decision about what is going on now in our society, you have to understand the past. And the only way to do that is through these sources. Let me explain how it is. If you hear someone, they're there with a prof in front of the name or a PhD, which they've got their PhD and they're from a big university, you assume what they're saying is accurate. I told him, Neil, you're being molested by a group of religious historians, Neil. Religious historians don't work with the text in the original. You got to go to somebody who's classically trained, right? You got to go to some hard case who knows how to read these texts. And that's the only thing that I can bring to you. I can bring you the evidence and hold it in front of your face so that you can see it. Okay, let's proceed. Thank you everybody for joining, and I appreciate your time. I do. Let's look at Ezekiel. Let's get right in, jump right into the evidence. Ezekiel, please. If you'll bring up the text for the evening, and I'm going to show you the Greek. And I just want to read through with you and show you some words. And as I'm doing so, I'm going to bring some images to your brain. And those images correlate with the text itself. So what do I have up here? I've got that dirty, dirty prophet Ezekiel. And you'll notice right away it's Greek. And the first thing that you will do is you will stand up because you have been listening to the people who don't have the training. You will stand up and you will say, this should be in Hebrew, because you're post 10th century. When that Hebrew back translation came into existence and dropped Christos from the text, from the Septuagint. You're going to love this. There's dirty, dirty stuff in here. Oh, we've got to explore this together. Okay. Let's just proceed, shall we? Where the ship's come to a halt, we can all step outside and see what it is. And tonight we're in a dirty, dirty place, Samaria and Jerusalem. And these are times when things are going on. Let's see what's going on. Yeah, and kai egeneto. I want you to hear some of the Greek, right? I want you to hear some of it. Kai egeneto logos kuriou prosmelegon. Yeah, this Logos comes to me. This Logos of the Kurios. Yeah, our Lord's Logos comes to me and saying, what's it saying? Hue anthropu, Son of Man. You'll see this is translated terribly through the Masoretic tradition. It doesn't use the right word. Right? Didn't use Adam, right? It's Son of Man. Interesting title. And they understood this in the first century. That's why who is going around calling himself it. Good. Yeah. What did he say? Son of Man. There were two women. Long story short, duogunaikis. There's these two females. Yeah. And they were the daughters of one mother. And ex-epornel son, what were they doing? They were ex-pornating. If I can have you bring up porneia, that would be fantastic. What is porneia? I just want you to notice that in the Victorian LSJ, we get prostitution, and look at Roman numeral number 2 here, idolatry. Okay, that's the first time I want you to associate sex and religion. And that is orgy. You see where we are? We're right there at the nexus. Let's keep going. So what are these two girls doing? They're expornating in Egypt. Well, what's going on? Let's keep reading. Verse 3. Kai exepornel son in Aegyptoi in te neote ti auton. She did it in her neotes, in her youth. She went to Egypt and she expornated in her youth. And what is this expornation? Yeah. Eke, there, epeson hoi mastoi. If you've ever had a mastectomy or heard of somebody who has a mastectomy, you know what those mastoi are. Those are your breasts. Her breast, uk epeson. They hadn't fallen yet. They hadn't developed yet. Okay? Don't worry, the text reinforces this. We're talking about a young girl. Okay. Verse 4. And the names of these girls was Ula and the older one, right? Ula. Isn't that a nice name? The Masoretic text again messes up here. Ula and Uliba. These are beautiful. These gorgeous names. Why? Because they hold Greek roots. You wrap your head around that one. They hold Greek roots. Yeah. Okay. We're getting there. You feel foreign? Feels foreign, doesn't it? Step out. Don't worry. We're coming. So it's two sisters, yeah, and kai egenonto. This is a really weird phrase. This next expression really means I had her to wife, or I had her in the capacity of wife. Yeah, it's really weird. It's like they belong to me. It's almost a marking. Yeah, to bring a mark. I like it. Yeah, and so anyway, and the names of them are Samaria, he tells us. Yeah, Samaria is Ula, and Jerusalem is Uliba. Isn't that nice? Verse 5. Kai exepornelsen. And they pornated. Right? Who did? Hey, Ula. Ula pornated. What? Up emu. Away from me. She's pornating, breaking that thing that she and I had. And she is doing it in Egypt. Oh, remember, it's gonna start to get X-rated pretty soon. Kai exepornesen eula ap emu kai epetheto epitus erastas autes. What did she do? She set about her work. Epitithemi in Greek. When you engage in the biz, that's epitithemi. She started engaging in the biz. Yeah, she did with her erastes. With her lover. Yeah, the one who's entering the passion. I'm not saying it. Ezekiel's saying it. Don't blame me. Oh, wonderful entry here. Lover, yeah. Admirer. Yeah. Isn't that nice? It's gorgeous. Okay, on we go. And who are these lovers of hers? She's engaging herself upon the Assyrians. And Assyrians at this time, they would refer to Chaldeans as Assyrians, Assurioi, right? It isn't really what you and I academically talk about with Assyrians. Don't think about a time or an empire. Shout out to Norman Yaffe from Oriental Institute. Yeah, wonderful. Love you, Norm. Anyway, and verse 6, those who were close to her. Anyway, and verse 6, what are these guys wearing? They're wearing hyacinth. What is hyacinth? This is hyacinth. Oh, isn't that nice? Isn't that lovely? There's another hyacinth. This is hyacinth. Has everybody met hyacinth? Yeah, boy lover, Apollo. Nice. They're dressed in that purple. And what are they? They are Egumenus and Strategus. They're leaders, civic leaders, but it's more than just like an elected position. This is people with power. These are aristocrats who are turning the power. Yeah. Oligarchs, if you will. You like that? What are they? They are neoniskoi. Wait a minute. They're youth. They're youth? What are these youths doing? Oh, they're epiklektoi. They're epiklektoi. They're chosen. They're aristocrats, bro. I'm telling you. These are the chosen aristocratic boys. And where do they get sent? They get sent to Ula. Yeah. Ula. Apolumi. Right? Her name. Destroyer, baby. That's what her name means. Whew! Love it. Okay. And what do these prince boys do while they're there? Oh, well, the text goes on to say in verse 6, yeah, they're dressed in hyacinth. Yeah. They're young, and they're these princes who are hipes. They're on horseback, right? And they're specifically either chariot or a horseback rider. Yeah, so trained, professional. These are, Scythians would be proud to be around these people. In antiquity, it's a big thing. There are entire cultures that are horse-driven. Yeah. And the Scythians, who were always caught with cannabis, they're the ones who are bringing us these toxins, these wonderful purple toxins. One of the things that you need to know, the purple dye from antiquity is a huge trade. It's a huge trade. It splashes itself all over the languages of the Mediterranean. For example, Phoenician. The word Phoenician just means purple, right? These are traders, and they took this stuff all over the Mediterranean, all over. They set down colonies. They influenced the language and the development of the language. Oh God, it's beautiful when you consider it for the delicate history, right? And remember, Greek is a reservoir. This is several thousand years of language. And when you get that much development, it's no wonder, like the Romans said, okay, the Greeks got us with the language, right? It is the master means of expression, but we're good at engineering, and our language reflects it. That was the excuse. Right, but they all knew. They all went over to Eleusis, right? There's a reason for that. Anyway, let's get back. Speaking of Eleusis and this vampire girl that we're looking for Echidna, right? Love it. Okay, verse 7. Yeah, verse 7. Kai edoke ten pornean autes ep autus. And she gave her pornea, right? She bestowed it on them. The cup that is in the apocalypse, held by the lady Babylon, that is full of her porneia. Ula is giving her, giving them, the princes, that cup. Yeah, she's bestowing her porneia upon them. Okay, thank the time and the place. Thank goodness we have all the drugs that we can track. We crack everything. Just track the drugs, follow reason, right? And watch it show you the history. Did you know they were doing this in antiquity? Yeah, ritual. All right, let's keep going. What else? What are you doing these rituals? We know we got the princes there. We got the purple there. We got this is getting exciting, right? We're going to find out. We're going to find out in a minute. The Egyptians, oh God, they're centaurs. They're called phallus. The shape of a donkey, and the size of a horse. And this is what brought Ula, right? This young girl, because the most threatening thing to Jehovah is a young girl, underdeveloped, entering entering a rite involving a prince. He doesn't want that. He doesn't want her giving her porneia. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, it's gorgeous. Let's keep going. And see where she ends up. Yeah. Yeah, she didn't, so they, at the end of verse 7, there's a bunch of meinoing going on. They're all meinoing together. What does it mean? It means to stain. It means to stain with dye. Heracles has some dogs. Their lips are stained with purple. Yeah, their lips are stained with purple. Dogs and dragons. You remember the ones that stand at the portal of the underworld? Yeah. These are the same group, using the same pharmacology, using the same poisons, right? Toxins, venoms, right? To raise the serpent on the pole. Yeah, because these are serpent venoms we're working with, right? Saturnian magic, gorgeous stuff. Okay, so when it says meino literally means to stain with the dye, right? So these are staining themselves. Yeah, nice. Okay, and what else are they doing? Verse 8. She didn't leave it off. You know, she didn't leave that off. I want to jump ahead because I don't want to spend too much time. I want to get you to the things develop and what happens in verse 10. Yeah, they apocalyptoed her aishune. The princes apocalyptoed. They apocalypsed her aishune. What is that? Yeah. I just want you to notice. Look at aishune and you see shame or dishonor. That's what they apocalyptoed. Apocalypto means to uncover. They uncovered her shame. What does that mean? You can have the shame of women being their dishonoring. Yeah, but look at number 3, because we are in later. When they say number in Roman numeral number 3 at the bottom, see how it says later? We are there, people. And what does it equal? It equals idoion. And what is idoion? Idoion is the pudendum, that which requires shame. Yeah, the private parts. The princes uncovered her private parts. And what else did they do? It says the ekheo. They poured out or squirted out on her. Yeah, what is going on? Like you can see we're at a classical orgy, right? This is a religious operation, which Jehovah is mad about, right? You can't do this. You can't do this, Samaria. Shame on you. Knock down those temples. Cast out the dildos that are there, right? You can't do this. They're spreading it. The purple, right? It's a cult. A mystery cult. Fantastic. Yeah, he saw them. Let's go down to verse 13. I just want you to see this as young initiates. Look at verse 13. Yeah. Kaedon hoti memiantai. Yeah, I saw that they were died. I saw that they were died. Hodos mia ton duo. Hodos mia. One road. Ton duo. Of two. One way. Walking the one way of the two. Isn't that beautiful? Yeah. So that hodos, that way, when you see that in the first century, and Jesus is talking about the way, if you don't know those primary sources, you don't even know what the way is, right? And the example that I always give you guys that I want to, that way that we talk about, salvation. Yeah, salvation. Those words, soteria, we don't have those words. Those are rich, rich, rich Greek words. So if we're going to say, to bring this back to the beginning, if we were to go back and actually look at the sexuality of Jesus, if we were to go back to the text, we would see a world that'll crack your existence. Yeah, we'll catch Jesus in a park with a naked boy. We'll catch him there. And what is he doing? Does he have the purple? Yeah, Uula and Uuliba. Long story short, they saw the way. They found the way. Okay. So now let's get back in the ship, come back to modernity. What text were you using? Yeah, I was using the Septuagint, Ezekiel 23, Ezekiel chapter 23. A little bit more. This is hilarious. I got to show you this. Bring up for us, please, the translation, the King James. This is the King James translation of the third verse of that passage. This is the verse where it says she grew up there in Egypt, where she was committing this act, expornating with these people. And it was before her breasts fell. Yeah, so watch the King James translation. This is funny. And they committed whoredoms in Egypt. They committed whoredoms in their youth. There were their breasts pressed. And there they bruised the teats of their virginity. The teats of their virginity? What? That's not even in the that's not even in the text. You can't even get a whiff of that. Who's bruising what? Okay, what then you ask yourself, how can you have the Septuagint, the text we just looked at, which is quoted by Paul and anybody else who's quoting it in the New Testament? They're quoting that text that we just read. Okay, so how is it that we get bruised teats out of that? It's not. It's just not there. I thought whoredoms was nice. Whoredoms is a little bit almost angry, incredible. Yeah, if you just imagine that, if you're living in antiquity, right? The earliest images you hear about this savior, right? Up until this time, it had been a female, but a savior. Okay, and what does he look like? He looks like a dude with the head of an ass. Yeah, it's fantastic. I found an ancient text. Everybody knows about it already. It's been translated. But it's by a priest. And this Hellenistic priest is doing stuff with these venoms. And he's got he coded his name in the text. And under his name, he has the initiatory myth or song by which people are brought through the gateway, right? And it's all about the ass. Yeah, and his burden. And with that, we'll leave it. We'll leave it. Thank you for coming tonight. I hope this was helpful.